Hello, everyone. Great to have you here yet again. Welcome to Piano-Tech Radio Hour. We're approaching the Christmas holiday. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. And we just had Thanksgiving on the heels of Thanksgiving. Hey, Wayne, how's it going, Mr. Ferguson? Good to see you there. You've always got some interesting style going on. You got some pretty cool glasses there. Are those reading glasses?
Yes, they are. You hear?
Nice.
You hear me?
Yeah, I gotcha.
You hear me?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, just that I have to have a back action to show you in a minute.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Great.
if you're interested, yeah.
Yeah, totally. I'm excited.
It was confusing anyway.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me do a quick intro and we'll roll into that. That'd be interesting to see. We're out on, just make sure we're out on Facebook and YouTube and all that good stuff. I think maybe let me just double check on the back end. Yep, things are streaming out. Okay, yeah. Well, as a few more people continue to join, I'll give an intro. Hello to everyone out on the socials and stuff like that. Welcome to Piano-Tech Radio Hour once again, or for the first time, depending on how you're showing up today. So what we do here is we gather every Saturday to meet with and learn from the most fascinating and knowledgeable folks in the piano world, including manufacturers, rebuilders, musicians, makers of other instruments, and of course, piano techs. Our mutual goal is to become better at our craft, help each other, and to create an ever more musical world together. Piano-Tech Radio Hour is brought to you by Piano Technicians Master Classes, an online learning resource that brings you cutting-edge instruction from piano industry masters without leaving your home. You can find out more at pianotechniciansmasterclass.com. We're on the heels of a wonderful live lecture that we had with Larry Lobel. And I encourage you all to sign up to view the recording of that, or if you're already a subscriber, that'll be in your library at some point soon. I'll put the link in the chat as well, and so that people can access that very easily. And also remind you that we have a podcast that's rolling out now, which is something that I wanted to give everybody an update on. But maybe I'll roll into that in a few moments because our good friend Wayne said he has some interesting thoughts to share. In the meantime, I will give a quick link to our podcast. It's pianotechradio.com, and I'll put the subscribe link as well in the chat so that you guys can jump on and subscribe to that. And it looks, I'll show you in a little bit. We've been growing very quickly with that. So that's exciting. There's people out there that are interested in listening and, reviewing and all that good stuff. So I encourage you to participate. Let me grab that link and I'll put that in the chat. And then, we'll roll over to you, Wayne. Interested what you got. All right, cool. I put the link in to subscribe to the podcast. Let's check in over here with Wayne. Let me spotlight you. What you got going on there?
I'm restoring a Miller 1922. I'll just move the camera for a second, see if I get it back in the right position. There's the piano there.
Cool.
Pretty much everything's done. Right. So
now, how did this piano come across your table here? What's the story behind it?
Real estate agent called me to want to get rid of the piano.
Okay, nice. So you just said, "Is this worth it? It's free."
I went and looked at it, and because it was full plate, full perimeter, it sounded great. 1922. I knew it had good potential, so I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm getting ready to rescale the speaking length of the strings, so I have that there. And once I put the plate in, I'll get the V bar location, and I'll take those out, and I'll work on rescaling of that the whole speaking length. But before I'm going to put the plate in tomorrow, but what I wanted to do was take the back action out. And took me an hour to figure out how to get it out.
Oh,
So
that's
the
always
issue
fun.
was- The issue was I couldn't find any screws to get it out. Oh, I need to adjust this here, sorry. Anyway. Okay, so more or less what happened was I figured out I had to get this out, but there was another contraption underneath, which I'd never seen before. And I don't know if anyone ever seen this. But the back action has to be totally restored. Everything's glued in place. But what
Oh.
happened was when I lifted this up, there's these little pieces under here, and I thought, what's that? Once I figured out how to get this out, I couldn't find any screws to get the back action out. So there's 3 screws to get this sostenuto mechanism out. And I've never seen this before. But they have these little, you see that in there. And basically what happens is the whipping holds that up in the air.
And that's the
And-
sostenuto mechanism.
Yeah, and then when you put this in, it keeps it up. Simple as that. I've never seen anything like it.
So let me
first-
just recap here. So this whole thing is the sostenuto mechanism, or it's a combination of sostenuto and sort of damper mechanisms. What you're showing us right now.
It's the sostenuto.
This is just for sostenuto.
Yeah.
And then in order to so if I push the sostenuto pedal down, what happens to
Yeah.
that piece?
Well, of course, the notes, you're pushing the notes down, so the notes are
Certain
held up
notes
in the air.
yeah, I've got down.
Right, so of course, the damper is up in the air, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so this spring follows suits, goes up.
So it always goes up with the damper no
Yeah.
matter what. But
Yeah.
then since
And
it's
then what
already
happens
there,
when you engage the sostenuto rail? It's funny, these bend, but it catches on here and keeps this one up. It's kind of confusing, but once this is engaged, it catches this one here and keeps it keeps the
I
the-
think I see.
up in
Right.
place.
So the ones
So
that
it's-
are up change their angle slightly. And so that can grab them.
Yes. So it's just
Huh.
I've never seen this before. And so, but this needs to be totally restored.
Yeah. Are you going to have to redo the whole spring mechanism, or you just kind of redo what's already there? I could try to replace all that, right? Or
Well, I'm going to do what I can. Everything is working, there's nothing broken.
right.
So I'm just going to, I'll do cleaning thoroughly. I'm gonna soda blast. Then polish everything that I can polish. And then the big thing, it took quite a while to figure out how to get it out because there's no screws visible. Once this came out, then the screws were visible in the back tray. The 3 screws were visible, but they were hidden because this was in the way.
And that was
So,
being held in by some screws as well. So
yeah,
you take the
3
screws out.
Yeah, 3 screws here, three screws. And once this come out, then I could end up seeing the screws in the back of the tray here. 1, 2, and 3.
Lots
Anyway.
of fun. So now what do you know about, so you said the brand was Miller, is that right?
Yes, Miller out of Boston.
I don't know much about Miller brand. What do you know about it?
Well-
Is it relatively good or?
Well, this piano sounded amazing. It was when I heard it, it was original, and it had an amazing sound tone. The soundboard is perfect. one of the issues I had with the A graphs, they were a quarter 36 thread, which I had to go and get a special die made because normal it's quarter 32 thread. But the threads were really robust, thicker. Well, I mean, the thread was quite fine.
So to get into all this, very humbly, I will have to say, from my perspective, to get into any of this would be very brave for me to do. I haven't done a lot of rebuilding to open it up and kind of find out what's there and deal with like a threading issue on the A graphs and doing the back action differently and stuff like that. Where are you at with this? Are you like, I can handle all this? Or is there a part of you that's like, well, am I digging myself into a hole? Like, where are you at in terms of like confidence with like doing the particular project? Just kind of curious.
Well, it is always, a lot of work, 2 steps forward, a step back. I did that plate black and totally finished, put it back in the piano and it looked awful. I didn't want to do gold. So I pulled it out and took it back to the sandblasters to start over again. And then I decided to do it silver.
Mm-hmm.
And because the plate was such bad shape, I did a lot of, took me about 3 or 4 weeks to do all the filling, but then I used hammer paint afterwards. And the finish turned out pretty good.
Awesome. And this is just one that you'll keep. So because I know you have space for those of us that attended your lectures before, you showed us kind of like around your home space. You have space for pianos in there, right? Will this kind of go on your sort of home showroom, or what's the plan?
This is going to go to theater in the west end of the city. It'll live there until I get another piano restored, which is a Chickering 6'7" grand. And that will go to the theater also. And then they'll decide if they're going to go for the Chickering or for the Miller, but they might take both.
Oh, interesting.
Right.
So you kind of already know you have a home. You have like a 50% chance of a home for this piano no matter what, because you have someone who wanted a piano. And what was a conversation with them? They just said, we need a new piano. You said, I'll keep you updated when I have different opportunities. Is that it?
Yes, I've worked with them before. So, and they've seen quite a few of the pianos that I've restored in the past. So I try to make a significant difference, with the hammers, tone, rescaling. But it's the piano is what speaks to me, right? I just know that this was good, so it warranted going through this.
Very cool. And what's the timeline do you expect on this in terms of being able to put it in that theater?
I want to start putting strings on end of next week, and hopefully, I think by I hope to have this pretty much ready to go by the casework by January, end of January. And then from there, I haven't redone the action yet, but I will. The action has sort of been refurbished. I'll put the action back in to listen to what I got. And then from there, look at changing it, hammer assembly, weapons, all that other stuff, right?
Cool. So it's going to be like a matter of a few months out, you should have it turned around.
Yeah. But cool. This threw me for a loop, and that's going to be a lot more work.
Yeah. I'd do it all for you if I was there. And unfortunately, I'm too far away. Yeah. You'll have to do it yourself.
All right. Very good.
We got some comments here. Let's see here. So the brand was Miller. Larry said Henry F. Miller made great pianos. Jim Kelly said one of the Boston great builders, along with Chickering and Sons, Mason Hamlin, McPhail, Emerson, Ivers, and Pond. Pat Wilbur asked you a question. If it sounds great, why are you doing the rescaling? What's the story behind that?
I think I'm going to I have the wire size, which is there, so I measured everything, so I know it's there, and I'm going to see if I can make any sort of improvements by using Palo music wire, or maybe maybe Mapes stainless steel for the for the treble. I think it's stainless steel, but anyway, just yeah.
Well,
Just
thanks
want
for
to see what. Oh yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing on this. Anybody else have any other comments for this particular one? Anybody else working on any rebuilds right now? It'd be interesting to hear if that is the case. I love that you're always you have some kind of setup here, so you get to be on location in your shop, Wayne. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, but I can leave it. I can turn the lights off and say I'm not going back there for a week. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else you want to share, or should I move on to the next topic?
No, that's it. I just wanted to show you this actually.
Very cool.
Okay.
Very cool.
Very good.
Thanks a lot for sharing. Appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
I'll remove that spotlight for you too in a minute. Let's see. Add one for myself, and we'll remove here. There you go. Cool. Yeah, really great stuff. I mean, a couple things I sort of shared, maybe in conversation, but didn't explicitly mention. So I have this piano tuning business in New York City with a handful of piano technicians. And it's been interesting because we've had, this happens, but I don't actively solicit people to work for the business. So, basically what happens is every once in a while somebody shows up and they send us an email or make a phone call and they say, hey, I'd like to get involved with piano tuning. Is there a spot? And we basically offer full onboarding. If people that don't know anything about piano tuning, we get them started, we get them out in the field, and we have a special program where we do this sort of full disclosure with certain levels of clients that they're working with a newer tuner for practice purposes, and they get a very reasonable rate. And it's a win-win for everyone. The clients who want to save a little bit of money but still get their piano taken care of get some care for it. The technician who's learning things gets, you just need hours and hours of practice to get better. So the technician gets some practice, and it at the same time, we've gotten attention of like the Wall Street Journal. Actually, some woman from the Wall Street Journal a few years ago was like, hey, this is pretty cool. Wanted to try out the system. Had one of our relatively new tuners come and work on our piano and wrote a nice little article about it. So we've got that under our belt now. So anyways, people show up and they're interested. We have 2 new technicians on our team right now. And one of them, like I mentioned, just starting from scratch. She's a really excellent singer. She has an excellent ear. So I knew she had at least that capability. And so we signed her up, and she's doing pretty well. She's got maybe less than 10 tunings under her belt, but doing pretty great. And Wayne, we had Wayne sign up to meet with some of our technicians to do a little bit of mentorship and stuff like that. So that's been cool. And Larry's been participating too, off the books here, in terms of like, this is not an official apprenticeship, right? It's just a chance to ask some questions and get some guidance. And that's been pretty cool. But I'm very interested in this, actually, as just interested in educational opportunities. That story that I said, that somebody can show up and ask for a mentorship and we can say yes, I've seen all around the industry, for myself included, when I got started. It's pretty rare. It's hard for us technicians out there in the field, just trying to get our work done and stay afloat and focus on what's important, for somebody to show up and we had to take the time to show them the ropes. So we're happy that we can do that. But yeah, it's interesting to be able to facilitate some of these mentorship opportunities as well across the country, across the world. So anyways, I would say if anybody's interested too in getting more deeply involved in kind of helping the next the next call it generation or sort of the newer wave of piano technicians coming to the business, doing some mentorship or something like that, feel free to reach out via email, and we can get the conversation started. Or if you're out there and you're looking for some more one-on-one mentorship, right? We provide classes here, master classes, and we do the radio hour. But what if you want somebody who you can say, hey, I'm in a bind. I found this back action, which I don't know what to do with, right? And maybe someone who could give you some insights. Then that's an opportunity on that end as well. And the email is ethan@pianotechniciansmasterclass.com. If you happen to be out there in Facebook or YouTube, my name is spelled EATHAN, ethan@pianotechniciansmasterclass.com. We got a question that came directly to me from Chuck Becker. How long on average are the new techs taking to tune in the customer's home? That's a really good question. So what I do with the newer technicians, I feel like 4 hours is like a good breathing room amount of time where the technician can feel like they can take their time. And, even though these piano owners are getting a good deal and they're tolerant, they know it's like a newer person, they're going to start to feel a little bit awkward if somebody's like there for hours and hours on end. But, just to be able to have the time for them to do their best job, check it over as many times as they like. And so the very first tunings we often I usually use the number of 4 hours. And that doesn't preclude them from, at the end of that 4 hours, them saying, I'd like to come back to finish up. Like that's on the table. And I tell that on both parties' sides. I make the customer aware, hey, they might need to come back another day to really finish it up and polish it up. And also let the technician know, like, if you really feel like you're in a bind, we can say, hey, can I come back a different day and like really wrap this up? But to be honest, that level of care, or that level of time frame isn't necessary beyond like the first handful of tunings. Once we're past 5 or 10, most everyone's getting used to like, how do I get everything done more quickly? Yeah. And that's something that we also just help them understand, like, how do you go quickly at a piano tuning? And there's a lot of stuff might be intuitive to some of us that have been tuning for quite a while. But for that beginner, they're not exactly sure, how quickly can I go? What are the advantages and disadvantages? Dave Skolnick, hey Dave, he asks, where have these starting tuners learned tuning? Are they doing ETD or oral? So over the years, we've done various levels of ETD or oral tuning. There's a couple of different levels that they can access, which is really interesting. So like the oral tuning, is great to sort of ask them to consistently be practicing their oral tuning. And so it really depends on the piano technician, whether that's something that we do exclusively for them at the beginning, or whether we give them some recommendations on how to have the guidance of an electronic tuning device. So, a good example is like, a new technician that comes to me and I can tell they have like a really good ear, right? Like, again, they might not have ever tuned before, but if I ask them, to pick out notes, if I play notes on a piano and they can tell me the intervals relatively quickly, or maybe even they have perfect pitch or things like this, I'm more inclined to say, hey, you've already got something going here. Let's work on your ear. Let's put you out in the field and do the tunings by ear. And then on the other side of things, it is nice for them to have the support of an ETD. So, there's oftentimes we say, we're going to send you out there, but let's make sure you have an ETD and you know how to use it. And then there's some sort of hybrid situations where we sort of get them the support of an ETD, but it's not full access, something they could use here and there just to kind of polish things up, but they're expected to do some ear tuning along the way. So yeah, that's the general setup. Yeah, I think that answers the question, David. Where have these starting tuners learned tuning? Oh, yeah, the second question was, are they doing ETD or well? First, where have these starting tuners learned tuning? So they learn it through us. Well, there's multiple levels of folks that come on board. So we have some folks where they show up and they say, hey, I've been actually out there doing this on my own for a year or two. But I just want to join a team and I want to be a part of that system and have that support. And in those cases, it's all different scenarios. Like we've had folks come from being like a team technician at the Berklee School of Music in Boston. We've had folks who've been to North Bennett Street, so they're fairly well trained, but they want like a system of support to get their feet wet. We have folks that just here and there they like met with a tuner in there that they could connect with here and there, got some input and feedback and sort of got going. I mean, that's pretty much those are all the different use cases, right? You've got everything from North Bennett Street or some sort of official, like maybe they work for a store or a school, getting their bearings, to all the way to like, we're doing it for them. We're saying, okay, where are you starting from? Let's open up the eGrec book. Let's open up the Reblitz book to the chapter on tuning and, go in there and do the exercises and we'll check in and make sure you're getting everything straight. So it's, that's what we've been able to do. And we've been able to get people started from all different levels, but it's really clear that, there's that added value to having our system. So, people can go out and they can watch YouTube videos, or they can even enroll in a course, or they can even take like spend, I think it's several tens of thousands of dollars on some official training program. But it's useful to have a curated guidance through your journey, right? Like, oh wait, don't watch that YouTube video. Like watch this one, right? That one was kind of made by an amateur, and this one's like somebody that we really know what they're doing. Another thing that's super valuable, of course, is we have our masterclass content available for them to review. And what's really interesting is, I often recommend David Anderson's tuning concert as one of the early things that they can access. And number one, because, just watching someone tune a piano is very instructive for a beginner to do, to just kind of witness what's being done, let their brain absorb what it absorbs. Like they're not going to pick up on all the minute, oh, how is he holding the hammer? How is he adjusting it? What's the sound? Like there's all these ingredients, right? But just watching, right? And their brains will pick up on what they pick up on with each new viewing, with each new exposure. Maybe they'll notice some hammer technique. Maybe they'll notice something about the way the pitches align. But, David Anderson, very experienced piano tuner, but for a beginner to kind of just watch it, it's super useful. And we even recommend David Anderson how to make a piano sing. And I think that just from the very foundational moment, a lot of these newer tuners just appreciate that kind of quelling of the fears, I guess we'll put it that way, that David Anderson does so well. I'm saying, hey, you know what, like you can do this, just remember what you've learned, what you've studied, and put it into practice. Don't pay all this attention to the doubt that you have. You're on your journey and you're going to improve more quickly and easily. You're going to do your best job if you just focus on doing that best job. And so that content's been super useful for people as well. Pat says, let's see, wait a second. Yeah, Pat says, I'm still using the Yamaha PT100. I have 3 of them if anyone is interested. And this is, Pat, is that like that's like an electronic tuning device? What is the PT100? Are you able to speak? I'm not sure. Maybe you're just typing in notes here. I guess I'd have to look it up. I mean, that dates me. But I think the PT100 is like an older device used for doing electronically supported tunings, stuff like that. Hey, Terry, how you doing, man? It's good to see you here. Oh, unmute yourself. If you can. Can you unmute yourself, Terry? Let me see if I can request that. Ask to unmute. Ask to unmute. See if you get a little request there. Does that work?
Hey, yeah.
Hey, man, how you doing? What's
Good,
going on?
thank you. Nice to see you after all these years, and
Oh yeah,
glad
totally.
you're continuing your master classes.
Yeah.
And whenever I can jump in, I do, just to pick up on some of those great details that you and your members have offered. So,
Awesome. What's life like for you nowadays? Do you have a pretty active service business? Are you tuning? Are you doing like rebuilding stuff? I know you're always kind of bringing something new on, but then you also have other irons in the fire.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun, really. I'm tuning in a couple of studios, recording studios, and that's been keeping me busy over the last summer since things are kind of opening up now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're able to get bookings. So that's probably 2 or 3 times a week, which is fine. I'm not looking to get real busy. I've kind of graduated out of the advertising business about 10 years ago when I met you, and so back into music, which is what got me started really in my journey. So I'm back into that and rebuilding. I'm working on my own 1937 Chickering, which I've been promising myself I would try to get finished this winter. But a couple of uprights I'm working on now, and a player piano.
Cool.
Doing action work, and
And you're north of New York City, right? I've never been to your house. Where are you located?
Yeah, I'm just north of David. In Pecanical Hills. He's down in Hastings, and
Okay.
so
very cool. And you have a workshop space? Like
I do. I was, I've done a lot of woodworking over the years and built cabinets and things. So that aspect really is a lot of fun to keep going on. I've got a industrial style drill press and big radial arm saw, that's, with working tables and everything. So, built a harpsichord many, many years ago. So that kind of was my learning experience in terms of building. So yeah.
I've heard that story. I don't know if you did this, but I feel like there's a harpsichord kit you can order or something and put one together. Is that what you did?
Zuckerman, right. Back in the 70s, harpsichord was used now and then in some of the rock tunes, and I was part of a rock band down in the village. So I really wanted to capture that sound.
That is like a really nice thing to have on your resume. I was part of a rock band down in the village. That tells a whole story, Terry. It's a whole chapter of your life that I want to hear more about.
It was a lot of fun, and but I eventually did buy Zuckerman had his big shop on a loft area down in near Christopher Street, and so I went up to see him, and he had several virginal and a harpsichord, and he was starting to work on a kit for a double strung, but I kind of bought into the single strung harpsichord kit, German style. And that took me about 5 years of trips to the laundromat while I worked on the action keys, and it was from scratch. I mean, basically, you had to put everything together.
Wait a second. I want to clarify. What does trips to the laundromat mean? Is that a euphemism?
I would take all my little parts that I had to fashion to the laundromat while I was doing the laundry, and
oh, okay, got it.
Would get some of that. We're talking trim the Delrin plectra and work on the weights for the jacks and get the key tops ready. And it was just hundreds of little things you had to get ready to put the thing together.
Nice.
So, anyway.
Larry said he did a similar experience, bought a Spin-It kit from Zuckerman and built it. That's what started him down the road of piano technology.
Yeah. Well, they now have their factory has been taken over. Well, I guess they bought the rights to use the name and everything, but up in Connecticut, they have continued to manufacture, but in more of a Flemish style harpsichord, which is the bent style, bent side, and a little bit longer, so that the sound is a little bit more sonorous. And I bought strings from them, so I know that they're still around and they still have really good kits. David Dowd up in Boston was one of the people that also manufactured kits back in that day. But anyway.
Sorry, I was muted. I was just looking up what is it? Peconic? What is it called?
Pocantico.
Pocantico. How far?
Pocantico Hills. It's about 3 miles east of Terrytown and about 3 miles south of Briarcliff.
Okay. And you can get to NYC via like a train or something, or what's your transit situation?
Head over to Terrytown. It's a big, nice station there, and straight into Manhattan in about 35, 40 minutes on a good day.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Wow. It's amazing how those places seem so far, but they're not.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like that here in Chicago. We can get downtown from where I'm at in like 35 minutes if you take an express train or something. Very cool. All right. Well, we need a workshop space, Terry. So we're going to come up there and we're going to invade your workshop space and start. Well, maybe we'll help you finish that piano. There you go.
Yeah.
That winter project.
I'm working now on a player piano that all the we'll call them the pockets that drive the player system, the vacuum pockets, and leather pouches. You have to remove the old leather pouch, and so I'm got the glue ready, and I got to get that done first. Okay.
That's cool. I worked on a player piano here where I do very few jobs over here in Elmhurst, near Chicago, because not Elmhurst, New York, but like, because I go out and I do the tuning and I'm like, I have other things they've got to do. And this didn't work. This wasn't worth it. Not that I don't enjoy it. It's just, there's many other things I'm doing with this project and everything, but it was a player system, the one that I most recently did. And it was very, it's as it is with sometimes with these piano appointments, very emotional, right? Like this woman was like, it's the player. Like, I remember when my parents used to, this was the thing, and they would play it. And it was just to that point where you hit play and it was like, like it can't quite, you hear something, like you hear the notes and the rolls moving around, but it's just not, it's just, you can officially say it's not functional anymore. It's not completely dead, but I don't know. I just said, I don't know what to tell you.
I took a couple of classes in Chicago years back on players, and so I became fascinated with it because it just seems like such a unique player system. And, it was hard for me to understand how the vacuum system could really drive a player as well as it does. And then I had a chance to work on a player system down at the new Whitney Museum on the West Side. And
you did that. Did you do that with
Mark Hennon? Yeah.
Mark Hennon. Yeah, I remember that. That was cool.
That was a real trip, let me tell you.
What's the artist's name again?
Conlon.
Okay.
He was a composer, and it was outrageous, the things that he composed, and it would take four people to play what he wrote in punched rolls. But he was at a mile high. He was in Mexico City area. So the vacuum system had to be very robust. And when we did that at sea level here in New York, that piano was like jumping off the floor. It was incredible.
Pulled it off. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I don't know. I don't think I'll have time to pick up those skills, but I wish. Yeah, maybe later. These player systems, they're very cool, and it's we just worked on an electric player install at Floating Piano Factory, one of the technicians, and it was, I'm actually forgetting the name of it. It's like Kyoshi or something like that. I don't know if anybody's familiar with this brand. We tried it out, but it was actually kind of Kyoshi, Kioshi. Has anybody tried this Kyoshi player system? We wanted to give it a shot. Let me share screen here quick so you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, tell me if you've heard of this Kyoshi, little box. It's one of the selling points here is it's like super. Oh, sorry, it's not a player system. You just made me think of it. It's a silent system. Sorry, I don't think they do players. So this is like a silent system conversion, but point being, all right, number one, we had some problems installing it. Long story short, the design of it was such that like you had to remove the hammer return spring rail or something, in the particular piano, which they didn't really have a lot of support on it. So anyways, check it out. But if you're thinking of doing it, reach out to us and we'll tell you some of the things to work on. But anyways, the general point I was trying to make is like, it's bittersweet. We have these electronic systems that are much more robust than the vacuum systems, clearly, right? It's easier to just kind of install them, you get them going, they take up less space, all that stuff. But the vacuum systems are cool. It's just like a cool thing. So it's good that people are working on that stuff. I don't know if people know it, but Reblitz, Arthur Reblitz, I actually reached out to him. I think I invited him to come on Radio Hour. And it was interesting conversation because he was like, I'm not really a piano guy. Did you guys know that? Did you know that Arthur Reblitz isn't really a piano guy?
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah. So he said, he's really into these, what are they called? Oh, it's those things that are more like a whole machine that plays music. It'll have like a drum and some bells and I want to say it's called like a symphonium or something like that. What is it?
Celestron.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's it. I can look up his email, but yeah, basically
pronouncing it wrong, but
that's what he's into. Like orchestrion. Yes. Yeah,
that was close, but
yeah. Here's an exact quote from his email. Ever since I began tuning pianos during my high school years in the mid-1960s, the main focus of my piano restoration work was on the orchestrion and other self-playing instruments from the 1900 to 1930 era. And so basically, this story is really interesting. His story, according to what he said to me, was basically, I was looking for a book that told me how to take care of pianos because I had like a project I wanted to work on. I couldn't find it, so I wrote it. But it's like, that's it. That was like it. And then he worked on, and he's like, I think he's got books on the orchestrion as well. So anyways, interesting collateral story. All right, Terry, we'll invade your garage or whatever you're working on, and we'll help you get that thing back in shape. We'll reach out about it. I'll let you get off camera. I know you're probably like, why am I here? Why am I still here? I'll talk to you later. Okay. What is this? Jim? What is this? Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'll say we have someone who's interested in purchasing a PT100. It looks like we have Let's Make a Deal going on here. So I will make that connection. I just got a private message here. And then Jim Kelly said Louis Gentile in Boston is a great resource for old player systems. He bailed Jim out when he got in a jam with a player. All right, well, that's good to know. Let me get to what I wanted to. I just wanted to share with you guys. I'm really excited about the podcast, and want to share a little bit about that with you guys for a moment. So let me go ahead and do that. Let's get back to screen share. Okay, cool. All right. Oh, there's my email, Arthur Reblitz. So, okay, first of all, pretty cool here. This is kind of my back end on the podcast. So we just sort of relaunched this about November 2nd. So just a little over a month ago, and trickled in some downloads and stuff. So we already have about 250 people, 250 downloads of the podcast so far. We've got a good 25 folks that are fully subscribed to the podcast. And you can see things are increasing. So it's really exciting. that folks are interested in it. And by the way, I did have it sort of sitting out there as a podcast for a while. So there had been some exposure to it previously, but right now we're actually releasing the episodes, one by one as they occurred back in their original format. So we've had Rick Overton, Del Fondrick, Rich Galassini there from Philadelphia, Dale Irwin and Arlen Harris episode just came out, and they have a 2-part. So if you can catch the first part of that this week, and the next part will come out in Wednesday of next week. And this is pretty cool to see all the different places people are downloading the podcast all over the world. And that, again, that's kind of been one of my goals here, to get some increased exposure to this information. But yeah, we got 42 downloads have happened in Brazil, for example, Argentina 13, Chile, Peru. We have downloads in China and Russia and France and Portugal and Australia and Indonesia, right? Really cool stuff. So just want to remind you guys that that's a resource that's available, and it's not going to be the full video version of the podcast, and it's going to be, an archival version of the podcast, but it's nice to listen to, and there's some really great stuff that's still there. So you can go to pianotechradio.com/subscribe to go catch that. I'll put that link in the chat again, so everyone has the opportunity to do it. And this is our subscribe page. We've actually managed to get the podcast out on pretty much every major podcast distribution platform. Of course, Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and then like pretty much anything else out there that's distributing podcasts. You should be able to find it. Oh, look, David Stanwood's coming in. That'll be fun to say hi to David. So that's the podcast. This is the website, pianotechradio.com. If you want to just listen to it on the website, you can go to episodes, and you can just listen to it straight from here and choose the player. And then, you can even take a look back at the different characters that are on here, and we try to include more information about those folks. And so that's that. And also, did I have it open? Let me see if I got it open on Apple. I think I did. Yeah, cool. Look, we got 8 5-star reviews and some pretty cool text reviews. This podcast will recharge your inspiration batteries. We've got Hear Ye Piano Tech, come bask in the cast of Piano Podness. Very creative one. And Piano Geeks Only. This show is great. If you're a technician or a piano nerd, then this one's for you. So subscribe, go over there to iTunes. I'll put the iTunes link in there, and write yourself a review as well. That's really good. It helps spread the word and make sure that that everybody's finding out about it. And then I also wanted to make sure everybody knows that we're maintaining some social accounts. So we have Piano Tech Radio Hour on LinkedIn, and we always put updates up about, let me minimize this other window. We always put updates about that here on LinkedIn when the new episodes come out. So you can follow us on LinkedIn. Right now, we've got like 45 followers, right? Because we just started promoting it. So jump on there and follow us on LinkedIn and keep up with what's going on there, make some comments and so on and so forth. So I put the LinkedIn. We're also on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is Piano Tech Masterclass. That's a general handle for Piano Technicians Masterclass, but we post about the radio hour there. And we put some clips up as well for you to listen to when a new episode comes out. We'll have like a little audio snippet. We're also on Twitter. Piano Tech Class is our Twitter handle. Guys, we only got 3. I don't even know which one of these is how many people are following. Got 3 or 2 on Twitter. So if you're on Twitter, make sure you find us and follow us over there. I'll put the link in the chat for that as well. We haven't really been recruiting followers here on Twitter, so that makes sense. And of course, we're on good old Facebook, which is Facebook is not the new thing anymore, but there's a lot of people that are on Facebook. I know the piano tech groups are pretty active. We actually got quite a bit of we got some nice responses to some of our posts here on Facebook, people asking for a link to the podcast, or, giving some likes and comments and shares to the post. So that's really fun. Getting some feedback. I have no idea where this person lives, but again, probably somewhere that's not the States, which is really cool. It's great to know they're listening and checking things out. So yeah, just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of the podcast, that you're subscribed, checking it out, liking and reviewing and all that stuff, and keeping up with it. That's really helpful for everything that we got going on. I want to say hi to did David Stanwood stick around? Where are you, David? Hey, Mr. Stanwood, let's bring you up here. What's going on, man? I feel like it's been forever and a day since we said hello. I want to come.
Yeah.
I want to come stay at your place over there and see what's like in the wintertime. How are the sheep?
Terrible here.
How are the sheep there in the winter? I guess they have their wool coats, right? How do they hold up?
Calm, all is bright. It's a beautiful time of year.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd love to see you again.
Yeah, cool.
Right, everybody. Yep.
Yeah, good to see you. What have you been up to? What have you been up to lately? Are you still doing some training and things like that?
Yeah, I'm writing. There'll be an article coming out soon in the European Journal.
Oh, very cool. What's it going to be on?
Choosing the right hammer weight, the importance of hammer weight.
Very cool.
Scaling hammer weights, all the advantages.
Very cool. Did you see we did a little bit of a throwback, and we did a couple sessions from your previous we gave some teasers from your master classes. Yeah.
I missed that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was fun. I've been doing some kind of dig into the archives and do like little snippets from the private content. So we did a little David Stanwood day. That was fun.
And hi, Larry. Was he talking earlier? Did I?
I don't know if Larry was talking, but he was commenting, and he's been doing some classes for us as well.
Here I am. Hi, David.
Hey,
Good to see you.
Hey, everybody! Look, all my old buddies here.
Yeah, we were all waiting to say happy holidays to you there.
Yeah, it's great here in the vineyard.
So, and is Larry trained with you? He's trained with you in person. Is that correct?
Callahan Piano. Yep.
Oh, at Callahan
I'm a
Piano.
licensed precision touch design installer.
Yep.
Shouldn't you be wearing like a badge or something, Larry?
David never gave it to me.
We need some sort of.
I got to reissue another group of shop aprons.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds good. And you do you still do trainings for people? Because
I've been doing a lot of Zoom one-on-one, kind of walking people through the process.
Okay.
So, and the SNAP method is really so much simpler and calculation free. It's a real workbench method.
Very cool. So, and
a lot of enthusiasm about it, and rightly so. It's
now, is that something that's open invite? Like, if anybody here, here we have a nice audience of pretty sophisticated piano technicians or serious folks. Is that a thing where anybody could reach out to you and say, hey, I want some training?
Yeah, anytime. And if you have an action you want to work on, and I can walk you through it. It's give me your worst.
Very cool. And do you do the certification also remotely, or is that something that requires in person?
Yeah, after a few jobs, it just takes a little longer.
Okay.
Coming out to my shop for 5 days, that's a great way to do it, but it just hasn't been happening in the last, since COVID. But getting back to that, that's a great way too. That's the best.
I would recommend anyone, if you have the opportunity to go stay at David's house, you will
It's a lot of fun.
You will not regret it.
When I have a couple of students, each with a different action, with different challenges, everybody plays off each other. It's an intense, wonderful learning experience for everybody.
Yeah, I don't know the advantages of being there during this time of year. It could be wet and snowy and ugly.
Oh, no, we're very close to the Gulf Stream.
Okay, is that good?
So it's the ocean water keeps us
relatively warm.
Winter.
The reason I say that is I know that if you go during the warm weather, it's awesome. I'm not trying to make give
Yeah,
you, I'm not
June-
trying to commit you, David, to taking
June-
people out on your sailboat.
June is
Just
another
saying.
option. Yeah, good sailing
Right.
weather. June or September would be the prime months. July and August, there's just too many tourists here. It's
Yeah.
like they're like ants.
Yeah. But David, I don't know if everybody knows, he's like an avid sailor and he's got a sailboat and he'll take you around to,
That's part of
Yeah.
the training. Yeah,
that's part of the training, isn't it? It's kind of like some of that Mr. Miyagi stuff where you think
it's
you're,
true.
you
It's
think you're
absolutely
just
true.
sailing on a ship, but you actually
That's
learn
how you learn
something
the
about
balancing part.
exactly.
Yeah, it's all about tension and balance and wires. Yeah, piano like kind of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Awesome.
Actually true.
Very cool. Well, how's your wife? She's doing all right?
She's great. How you doing, Eleanor? Yep, she's good.
Okay, good, good. Awesome. Well, and the sheep, they're fine. How many sheep do you have?
We have 7 pregnant sheep.
Okay, 7, and they're all pregnant.
Well, as far
What,
as
what happens to the baby sheep? Do you keep them? Is that like a part of the business? What is that?
we don't name the ones we put in the freezer. But
Okay.
our freezer
all
is
right,
quite
that's
full
the
right
way-
now.
Okay. Until now, we had a G-rated session. We just crossed the line.
And we share the ewes we share, and we sleep under wool comforters, wool pillows, and yeah, wool's kind of a theme here.
Yes, right.
Back
And
back
again,
in the back in the 1980s, I had this crazy dream to grow hammer felt and have Eleanor shear them, and we would actually process and to make hammers. I actually bought 6 Dolge presses. I'm glad that didn't work out. It just would have been crazy, but I did save those Dolge presses, which were in the Rochester factory, and 3 of them went to Wally Brooks, and they're in Obel factory now, and the others went to Serge Harel in Canada, who used them for many, many years. And those are actually for sale now. He's got some top quality Dolge hammer presses, which he'd be somebody interesting to have on your radio hour.
which
Serge
person?
Harel,
What's his name?
Herel, Serge, SCRG.
Okay.
Yeah, Serge
Yeah,
Harel.
yeah. If possible, put us in touch. I would love to. I'd love to
Yeah.
have him over here.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, yeah, and for those that don't know, David's wife is also a wool, like a felt
She's
and
a felt
wool
maker, yeah.
artist.
Felt
Yeah.
artist, felt maker. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool stuff. It's a veritable wonderland at your location there to see the felt art and the hammer balancing
I
and
learned a lot
and the
about wool
ships
from
and
her. Yep.
yeah, very cool.
Pianos
stuff.
would not be the way we know them without sheep.
Yeah.
There's no
Well-
other fiber like that.
I'm really glad we caught you. We're about to jump off. We luckily we had a few minutes to chit
Yeah,
chat
I
with
keep
you.
missing these Saturday things, and I say, hey, maybe I can catch a little bit. So I'm glad I got on.
Awesome. Yeah. And check out the podcast. I think you probably caught me talking about that. Make sure you listen back to that. That's fun for the shop and driving around and stuff. But I'll officially do our sign off here. Glad for everybody that participated today. Wayne and Larry and David, Terry, and everyone that chimed in. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Should be fine. We'll figure out what's going on, if there's any misses for the holidays or rebroadcast or something. But yeah, so for today, I'll do our sign off, and we'll see you guys next week. We have we have reached the end of another musical journey here at Piano Tech Radio Hour. Thanks to everyone who joined us today. As always, we're brought to you by Piano Technicians Masterclasses, cutting edge instruction for piano industry masters without leaving your home. And for those of you that joined us today by signing up for this session individually, you can make your life more convenient. You could subscribe to Piano Tech Radio Hour. It helps us keep the show going. It's just $16 a month. You can get the recording of today's session in our member area with that subscription, as well as automatic registration for each week's new session. You could sign up at pianotechniciansmasterclass.com/direct access. And I'll put that in the chat for you, so it's easy to click if you need to. All right, everyone. It was great to see you today, and happy holidays for the
Bye,
holiday
all.
season. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.